December 2008. Elon Musk is 37 years old, and he is days away from losing everything. 3 years earlier, he was worth $200 million. Now he's borrowing money from friends to pay rent.
You put everything into the companies? Everything?
If I split the money, both of them die.
2 companies, both burning cash. Both weeks from bankruptcy, in the middle of the worst financial crisis in 80 years. 1 week in December decided whether the future would have Tesla and SpaceX in it, or neither. This is the true story of the most expensive week of nerve in business history. Rewind. 2002. Musk sells PayPal to eBay and walks away with about $180 million after tax. He is 31. The reasonable script is written for him. Buy an island, invest in index funds, be rich forever. And here's the thing. This wasn't even the first time. At 28, he'd sold his first startup, Zip2, for a personal payout of $22 million, and immediately rolled almost all of it into his next company, the online bank that became PayPal. The pattern was set long before the world was watching. Every time Elon Musk cashed out, the money was already spoken for by the next, bigger, riskier thing. To him, money was never the scoreboard. It was ammunition. Pause for a second and put yourself there, because the math is beautiful. $180 million, parked in a boring index portfolio, pays out roughly $7 million a year. Forever, without touching the principal. $7 million a year for doing absolutely nothing. That's the deal he turned down. Every financial advisor on the planet would have signed him up in a heartbeat. He chose 2 industries where fortunes go to die instead. Instead, he does the single most irresponsible thing a rich person can do. He puts all of it back into 2 of the hardest businesses on the planet. $100 million into SpaceX, building rockets. $70 million into Tesla, building electric cars. 2 industries famous for one thing: eating fortunes alive.
Rockets and cars? You'll be broke in 5 years.
Probably, but someone has to try.
Here's the finance rule he broke, and you should know it. Never bet money you can't afford to lose on correlated risks. Both companies needed the same thing: huge capital, long timelines, and a booming economy. If the economy turned, both would drown at once. 2008 arrives, and everything turns at once. SpaceX has launched 3 rockets. All 3 have exploded or failed. Each failure, tens of millions, gone in minutes. The aerospace establishment is laughing. Why do rockets eat money? Because in aerospace, every test is the product. A car prototype that fails gets towed back to the workshop. A rocket that fails is a $40 million firework. The engines, the fuel, the electronics, months of work, all of it gone in the time it takes to blink. You can't insure your way out of it, and you can't iterate cheaply. You just have to be able to afford being wrong, again and again, until you're right. Tesla is worse. The Roadster costs far more to build than it sells for. The company loses money on every single car. The financial crisis hits, credit freezes worldwide, and Tesla is burning $4 million a month with no rescue in sight. And Tesla's math was almost comical. The Roadster sold for around $100,000 and cost significantly more than that to build. Read that again. The more cars they sold, the more money they lost. Every gleaming Roadster rolling out of the shop was Elon Musk personally paying strangers to drive his product. That's not a business model. That's a countdown.
Payroll clears Friday. After that, nobody knows.
He'll find the money. He always finds the money.
And privately, Musk is going through a public divorce, sleeping on friends' couches in between offices, waking up screaming from stress. He would later say he was, quote, out of both money and out of luck. His personal account is functionally empty. The man who had $200 million is borrowing cash for rent. September 28, 2008. Kwajalein Atoll, middle of the Pacific. Falcon 1, Flight 4 sits on the pad. The company has money for exactly this launch, and nothing more. 3 failures came before. If this one fails, SpaceX is finished. No speech is needed. Everyone at Mission Control knows the math. Understand what that launch actually was. Kwajalein is a speck of coral in the middle of the Pacific. The team lived out there for weeks at a time, sleeping next to the rocket, fighting salt air that corroded everything it touched. 6 years of work, 500 employees' jobs, and the last dollars of a man already borrowing rent money, all compressed into 9 minutes of flight. There was no plan B. There wasn't even money for a plan B.
If this one doesn't make it,
Then don't let it not make it.
Ignition. Liftoff. Stage separation. The exact moment Flight 3 died. This time, it holds. 9 minutes later, Falcon 1 becomes the first privately built liquid fuel rocket to reach orbit in history. The control room explodes. Grown engineers cry. But here's what the celebration hid. SpaceX was still broke. A successful rocket doesn't pay salaries. And across the country, Tesla still had weeks to live. The week that decided everything hadn't even started yet. Here's the detail most retellings skip. Someone very important was watching that fourth flight. NASA had spent 2 years quietly evaluating whether a private company could be trusted to fly cargo to the International Space Station, because the space shuttle was headed for retirement and the agency needed a new ride. So Falcon 1 reaching orbit wasn't just survival, it was an audition. Musk didn't know it yet, but the judges had just seen exactly what they needed to see. December 2008. Musk scrapes together the last money he can find, selling assets, borrowing from friends, about $20 million, and pushes it into Tesla to trigger a financing round. His rule for the round is brutal. I'm in with everything I have left. Match me or watch it die. Investors call it the gutsiest move they've seen. Some call it insane. The Tesla round was uglier than the legend admits. Some investors argued the smart move was to let the company go bankrupt and buy the pieces cheap. The financing only happened because Musk made the alternative unthinkable. He was visibly prepared to go down with the ship, and everyone in that room knew it wasn't a bluff, because the man asking them for money was sleeping on a friend's couch. Then, 2 days before Christmas, the phone call. NASA. The agency awards SpaceX a contract to resupply the International Space Station. Value: $1.6 billion. Musk later said he blurted out, "I love you," to the NASA negotiators on the phone. And on December 24th, Christmas Eve, at almost literally the last hour, the Tesla financing closes. Hours before the money would have run out for good, both companies are saved in the same week. Musk kept his stakes. Those stakes are the foundation of what later became the biggest fortune on Earth.
NASA just called. 1.6 billion.
You're kidding. Elon, we're alive!
And the epilogue reads like fiction. 18 months after nearly dying, Tesla went public, the first American car maker to IPO since Ford in 1956. 2 years later, the Model S swept Car of the Year. SpaceX's Falcon 9 flew, then flew again, and the company that couldn't make payroll grew into the most valuable private company on the planet. The week that almost ended everything turned out to be the week that started all of it. Now, should you copy this? Absolutely not. And that's the honest lesson most videos skip. One more honest thing before the lessons, because this is where most videos lie to you. Survivorship bias is real. For every Musk who bet everything and won, there are 1,000 founders who bet everything and simply lost. You never hear their stories because there's no story to tell. The 2008 gamble worked, but it was still a gamble that came within hours of failing. Admire the nerve. Study the mechanics, but never confuse a survivor's story with a strategy. 1. Understand what he actually risked. Musk didn't gamble blind. He bet on machines he understood down to the bolts, in markets he'd studied for years. Concentration plus deep knowledge is an entrepreneur's bet. Concentration plus vibes is a lottery ticket. Know which one you're holding. 2. Cash runway is life. Both companies nearly died not because the products were wrong, the products worked, but because they ran out of months. Whatever you build or invest in, know your runway to the week. Great ideas die of empty bank accounts, not bad engineering. 3. Skin in the game moves others. The Tesla round only closed because investors saw Musk put his literal last dollar in first. Nobody follows money that hedges itself out the back door. If you want backers, for a company, a raise, anything, show them your own chips on the table first. Postscript. The stakes he refused to sell in that terrible December. The Tesla shares, the SpaceX shares, grew into the largest personal fortune in human history. Not because he timed a market, because he owned things he understood, held them through the worst week of his life, and never gave the panic the final word. 1 week, 2 phone calls. A man who chose to lose everything twice rather than half believe in anything once. You don't need his risk appetite, but you need to know what a real bet looks like because everyone else is just talking. If this made money make a little more sense, subscribe. New stories every day. Money stuff, simply explained.